There are approximately 64 million people living in the UK. Now, whether you live in a bungalow, a house or an apartment, fire safety in the home is crucial. Last year in the Midlands, there were approximately 26,000 call-outs to the fire service. So how do we make our homes safer? Well, today, we'll find out. Today I'm at Woodgate Valley Fire Station with Watch Commander Adam Harper discussing fire safety in the home. Adam, welcome to Midlands at Home. Thank you for letting us be here today. You're in charge of Red Watch here. What does that entail?
Well, the station's split up 4 watches, so 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And my job here is I'm the gaffer, I'm the watch manager, so we sort of do all our prevention-based activities, and then when we go to a shout, then I'm the incident commander.
Yeah, so you're the boss, you're the one in charge, sorting them all out, getting them all in shape. Now, fire safety in the home, it is crucial. It's something that I think we tend to not always think about first of all, although we should. I think a lot of us may have a smoke alarm at home, but then it's remembering to check the batteries, check it works.
Well, we know that, you know, unfortunately 90 people die every year because they haven't got a battery in a smoke alarm, and we've actually been to fires where the smoke alarm doesn't work because there's no battery in it. We put a battery in and it works. So we know the importance of fitting smoke alarms, and it's something that the smoke alarm is there to tell you that there's a fire, but behind it then goes the advice that we give you to say, if you do have a fire, don't panic, get out, stay out, get the fire brigade out. Our attendance time will be there within 5 minutes to all the calls that we have.
It must be frustrating for you that, you know, a lot of people have the alarms and they're not checking. So I suppose for you guys, it's just getting that awareness out, isn't it?
Well, it's like the old fire alarms now. You have to stand there doing the magic tea towel dance.
Yes, that's
trying to waft the smoke away. The new ones don't do that. If it goes off, you just press it and it shuts up. There's a hush facility. So the smoke alarm technology's moved on. So from the olden days where you had to do the magic tea towel dance, you haven't got to do that anymore.
I remember that so well growing up with my parents, you know, wafting.
But we say that at least you know it works.
True.
You know, we advocate where we put the smoke alarms. You put them at the bottom of the stairs and the top of the stairs. So you don't put them in the kitchen. And oftentimes when we do our home fire safety checks, we see that people have put smoke alarms in the wrong places. So it's, you know, it's the advice that goes with the smoke alarms. The DCLGU, sort of the Fire Kills campaign, they advocate testing your smoke alarms once a week. Push the button, not your luck. So it's about just every now and again pressing that button and making sure that it works.
That's it. It doesn't even take a second, does it, to press that button? Have you noticed a big difference? How long have you been in the industry and what changes have you noticed?
I've been in the fire brigade since 1994, so in my 22nd year, and yet definitely people value their homes a lot more, it seems to me, in my time. But the amount of prevention-based work that we do has dramatically cut our calls. When I joined in 94, we had 80,000 calls, and last year we had just over 25,000 calls.
Gosh, that's amazing.
So, and we know that the education is the important bit, and for us, we want to fight fires a little bit upstream. We don't want to wait till we've had a fire. You know, we talked about whether fires can be preventable. All fires can be preventable. When your smoke alarm goes off, it's not like a burglar alarm. It doesn't go off because a spider's crawled over it. It's because your house is on fire. And like we said about children at school, they act like a well-oiled machine because they do fire drills.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Part of the advice that we teach people is to have a fire escape plan. So you say, okay, it's 3 o'clock in the morning now. What would happen if we had a fire? You know, and then we sort of, if you're stuck upstairs, what would we do? So you put some quilt or something by the bottom of the door, open the windows and shout fire. If we was to go outside now and shout help, we'd be there till next Christmas. You go out there and shout fire and you watch people react to the word fire. We're almost pre-programmed to react to the word fire. If it comes to it and the fire's breaking through the door, then you put pillows, quilts, everything out there, lower your children down, and then lower yourself down and then jump down. But, you know, obviously the best place for us to give you that advice is in your home. You know what I mean? And it's about like coming to open days and things like that, but sort of helping us to help you to make sure that you're safe.
It's making that awareness, isn't it? So you think that we are becoming more aware, we're not, but perhaps so, you know, a little bit lazy sometimes, not checking that alarm. It takes no time.
One of the things we do if we have a fire, we do a hot strike. So we capitalise on the fact that we're really noisy, and we knock the doors and say, look, we had a fire here. The people didn't have a smoke alarm. Have you got a smoke alarm? And we can't believe that 10 years after we're offering a free service, we're still trying to make sure that people have got smoke alarms. And it's such a simple thing, but because it's so simple, I think oftentimes people overlook it. And we want to make sure that that smoke alarm works. You don't want to have a fire and find out that the smoke alarm doesn't work. You want to make sure that it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly, because when you see how many call-outs, I mean, there's nearly 26,000 call-outs. You know, that's a terrific amount. That's a lot of time for you guys to go out and...
No, you know, if we're there within under 5 minutes to all our Category A calls, and an accidental dwelling fire, a house fire, is a Category A call. So, you know, we intend to get one fire engine there within that time frame. But obviously what you do ahead of us makes our jobs easier. What we want is we don't want fires. If we have a fire, we want mum, dad and the 2 kids to be sat outside in their dressing gowns dithering. What we don't want is it to be quiet and smoky, because we know if it's quiet and smoky that, you know, we run the risk of there being a fire death, and that is the last thing that we want.
Yeah, and what do you find in terms of causes then? We've got various causes with it. What's the most common cause? The most common cause is cooking. The most at-risk room is the kitchen. And the 99% of our fires are caused by people not paying attention to what they're doing. So if you're cooking chips and the door goes, the most important thing that's happening in your house is you cooking chips. Very true.
Not who's at the door. So if you are going to leave your chips, don't leave. If you're going to leave your cooking on, if you're going to leave, turn the gas off or turn the electric off. Don't leave cooking unattended, because in the time that you go to the front door and come back, that fire can go from being a tiny little fire to being a massive fire. And then we've also got the issues of people trying to solve it themselves.
True, yeah.
The advice that we give to children, to old people, to people with learning disabilities, to everybody that we consider vulnerable from fire is get out, stay out, and get the fire brigade out.
And what if you've got a small fire? Because, you know, I know when I was growing up, it was always if you had a small fire. I remember my parents having the little fire extinguisher in the hallway, had the smoke alarm, which used to off with the tea towel, and it used to be get the tea towel, wet it, if it's a little fire, and put it on the fire. Would you still recommend that?
I think in the circumstances of it being your house, and an English person's home is their castle.
So to prevent it getting bigger.
You'll protect your own property, and it's not. I don't advocate people doing it. You will look at it yourself and think But the advice on hot oil, and certainly the old advice with chip pans, the problem is with our new communities is they don't cook in a chip pan that big. They cook in a pan that big. So now they'll be going to get a quilt cover. And one of the things we do with children is we time it. We say, okay, go and get a bucket of water. So they go to the sink and then they fill the sink, their bucket up, then they come back, and in that time the fire's gone from being a tiny little fire to a massive fire. So it is that big. You will always have a go, but if you open the door and the room is full of flames, that little fire extinguisher that you've got is going to be no cop. Even the big ones that we've got on the fire engines, they only last for 15 seconds. And what you'll see, you know, with the demo that we've done is you see the hose reel. That hose reel delivers 100 litres of water a minute for as long as we're there. So we've got that. So yes, older people and people that have had this sort of social conditioning about fire will do what they do. But what we want you to do is to get out, stay out, and get the fire brigade out. We won't come to a fire and go, like old people say to us, oh, I didn't want to phone yet. Phone us. That's the fire brigade. The fire brigade is yours. You know, call for us and we'll come and help you. Is there a certain age bracket that you tend to see more call-outs from? Yeah, I think if you look at, like in Birmingham, if I talk about Birmingham, we have our accidental dwelling fires. We know, statistics tell us that a 61-year-old white woman is going to have a fire in her kitchen between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. In November, January and February. So we know that the house, most people's houses in the day are empty because the kids are at school and they're at work. So we know that our peak time is cooking. So it's that time where everybody's got home from school and work and you're all in that relaxed mode, and then you're doing a high risk procedure, which is cooking. So you sort of don't pay as much attention. So we know that it's cooking, we know the times of day it is, and really it's just about paying attention to what you're doing. Yeah, and I think because our lives are getting so much busier, well, I suppose lives have always been busy, but we're trying to do so much in such a short space of time. So, I know when I get the kids from school, coming home, it's homework, it's cooking, running the bath, and it's just doing so much, and it's so easy just to forget about something, isn't it? It's the same as, if cooking fires are our major cause of fire, then it's electrical fires. You think about the amount of gadgets that you've got in your home. You've got, there's more and more nowadays. Definitely. As well. So you look at the charger points. So all of a sudden you've got loads of things on charge, and the old triple plug adapters. The reason they're so dangerous. How does the plug know what's going through it? You know, when you have a trailing lead with 5 plugs, it's fused. So we don't like them triple plug adapters, because then you have to look at how, if you put a tumble dryer, a washing machine, hair straighteners and a hairdryer on one thing, you're going to overdraw the fuse.
Yeah.
So then there's the next thing is electrical fires, but sort of hand in hand with, in most people's kitchens now, you've got a blender, you've got a bullet thing, and you've got you know, you've got loads of different appliances, and the plug still thinks there's only one plug, one appliance. When you put them double adapters on, the plug doesn't know, so we get lots of fires that are caused by electrical. Still within the kitchen, being our 60% of our fires are in the kitchen, and we know it's our most at-risk room. So if it's not cooking, then it's an electrical fire.
And would you still recommend, again, I remember growing up, that before bedtime, we'd switch off all of the sockets?
I mean, people do, because like if they're Sky Plusing, they don't want the Sky Plus to go off. But we have like a power down device where you plug the, you know, like your TV, flat screen TVs. When you turn it off and it's on standby, it's only the power's gone from the screen. The television uses as much power as it ever did.
Yeah.
But, so you think it's off. So it's about turning everything off apart from your fridge and your freezer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, don't go anywhere, because after the break we are going to be discussing more options with Safety Home, and also looking at a live fire drill. So see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. With approximately 64 million people living in the UK, whether it's in an apartment, bungalow or a house, safety in the home is crucial. Last year in the Midlands, there were almost 26,000 call-outs to the fire service, with 1,700 being accidental house fires. Every day the fire service carry out fire training to ensure they're ready to deal with every and any eventuality.
Okay, what you'll see is the fire appliance will arrive. You'll see that the hose reels are being pulled off the truck, laid out. The whole hose reel is pulled out and laid out to make sure that, you know, once we get in the fire, we haven't got to stop to get more hose. The officer in charge will brief the crews, he'll stand back and he'll have a look at the building from a bit further back to make sure he's aware of everything that's happening in the fire. You'll see the firefighters carrying out what we call door entry procedures, which is cooling the hot fire gases. Then two firefighters will enter the building and you'll see them effect a rescue and then hand that casualty over to another firefighter to carry out any first aid or CPR. As the second truck arrives, you'll see that the officer in charges talk to each other and ask for a ladder to be pitched to the balcony to rescue the child that's been found inside the building. And then you'll notice with the makeup that we put the equipment back on the truck as quickly as we get the equipment off the truck, and that's to ensure that we're ready to deal with the next fire that we're going to go to.
Incredible stuff. Hats off to you guys, you know, doing that. Is that something that you do every day?
Every day.
Yeah.
Training is a massive part of what we do. We have to be ready. When the fire cat goes off, we can get called to anything. So we deal with fires, road traffic collisions, gas leaks, chemical explosions, marauding terrorist firearm attacks. The scale and the breadth of what we get called to is humongous. And we've only got that fire engine, we've only got, you know, the kit that's on there.
Yeah.
So in order for us to be prepared, we have to train all the time. You saw there in the drill that the lads act, or the firefighters act as a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
It's because we practice all the time. It's a real massive part of what we do is making sure that we're ready.
It's just automatic, isn't it? You,
Yeah.
you could see from the guys that they were just off, just
Yeah.
automatic, knowing what they were doing,
Yeah.
and off they went.
Yeah.
If we talk about, safety in the home and making sure that our homes are safer,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of, most evenings I light candles. I do
Yeah.
put the coasters underneath, but
Yeah.
it's simple little things
Yeah.
just to be aware of. So what would we talk if we talk through? I suppose we'll start with something like candles,
Yeah.
and a lot of us ladies, you may have a bath lighting the candles.
Yeah.
You may not put a coaster down. So
No.
what could happen?
The tea light, you know how a tea light is? The aluminium thing is there to contain the wax. It doesn't offer any thermal protection. And I've actually been to fires where there's little holes all the way around the bath where the candles have fallen through.
No.
So it's, that you've got a candle on. If we think about the Asian community at Diwali, it's the festival of light.
It is,
It's
yeah.
about candles. And we also know with bonfires and, with bonfire night coming, when you're there, you know that the candle's burning. If you leave for any reason, blow the candle out.
Yeah.
Don't leave candles unattended. We know that people use candles. We're not saying don't use candles.
And even if you've got the children around,
Yeah.
because it takes, it was in the papers, a celebrity last year where
Yeah.
her daughter was going around trick-or-treating, and
Yeah.
there was a candle in the
Yeah.
porchway, and the
Yeah.
costume caught fire.
Our Chief Fire Officers Association have picked that up. We know, if you think about your curtains and all that sort of stuff, you know that your settee is flame retardant, but yet when you go to Poundland and buy a costume for your little girl, that isn't flame retardant, and it's wrong.
It's
really.
not worth the risk, is it?
And that's why we go into schools and we teach children what to do if their clothes catch fire. So it's simple: stop, drop on the floor, and roll.
Right.
Stop, drop, and roll. And we teach children that all the way through. It's just that simple little thing.
And will that tend to get,
Yeah, the majority of the flames
yeah.
out. And then obviously you're going to run into the kitchen, get the washing up bowl and just tip it over them.
Yeah.
But going from the very beginning, when you open the front door, think about it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it's dark, and your house is on fire. Now, how are you going to get out? So
Yes.
people that put push bikes in their porchways, how are you going to get out? And it's all the simple things. It's like when we train firefighters to do home safety checks, you walk around and you state the obvious. You walk around again and you state the obvious again, and that's where we are. It's about pointing out things that to us are obvious.
Yeah.
So your escape routes. When you get to bed at night, close the doors. If you do have a fire, it's a little fire. If all the doors are open, you have a massive fire.
And knowing where your keys are, I suppose, as well, to get out.
Yeah. It's if you think about Christmas or birthdays and things like that, when you have loads of people come over, you know where the key is, but do they know where the key is?
Yeah.
And like we talked about your children, do they know where the key is? Like my little girl who's 4 now, she knows where the key to the front door is. So not that she can just open the door to strangers, but in the event of a fire, she knows what number to phone, and she knows some sort of action about how to get out safely.
That's something that I thought of, because when I spoke to my lad who's 9, and I said the other day, okay, Harrison, if there was a fire, what do we do?
Yeah.
And you could see him stop for a second. I thought, gosh, I really need to educate him about, you need to call 999, and this would be the route, and sort of knowing that I was seeing you guys today, thinking actually there needs to be even.
These people don't realise the time from the fire starting to the fire being engulfing the whole room is under 2.5 minutes.
Gosh, that's no time at all.
If we ask children, do a straw pile, how long do you think you've got? People go, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. No, under 2.5 minutes. So when you want a smoke alarm, and what you have to think of it, if you haven't got one, how do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you've only got one upstairs, how long does it take the smoke to travel from the fire downstairs to upstairs?
So how many do you recommend to have in the house?
1 on each level.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then making sure plugs all off at night time, making sure, I suppose, tumble dryers get any of the
make sure that
fluff out.
and we sort of the kitchen.
A big hazard.
A lot of the stuff is around white goods. We have lots of product recalls where that like a washing machine manufacturer will have a problem with a part. People don't register the fact that their appliances that they've got that appliance. So then there's a recall they don't know. So when we go to a fire now that involves white goods, we get fire investigation to come, and invariably it's the filter. So people have got busy lives, we know they have, but these simple things that you can do,
clear the fluff out
it's
the
not
filter.
just about making the appliance more economical, it's about saving your life from fire. And just having a quick look every now and again, it's full of that, and you know what I mean? The things that you do with your children will then influence them when they have children. So it's your building blocks, foundation blocks. If you look at the amount of calls that have gone from 20 years ago to now, it's because of education, because we've gone into schools and we've talked to children about, like if they do hoax calls, if you've got a fire engine that's here and there's a fire just over the road, the fire engine will be there in seconds. If this fire engine is dealing with a hoax call, it takes double the amount of time,
Yeah.
and obviously that's you lose your chance of survival.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
What do you think makes a really good firefighter?
I think this sort of the star that we have here are all the parts of what we are. You've got to be self-disciplined, you've got to be observant, you've got to be able to work in arduous conditions. And you know when most people go, I've had enough.
Yes.
We can't have enough. Unfortunately or fortunately, there's no super fire brigade for me to phone, it's me. So when we go to an incident, we have to deal with it. So you've got to be brave, you've got to be strong. You know, but the old sort of ideal of what a firefighter looks like is we've got female firefighters, and a firefighter has to be able to do the job at any time, or all the time, and dealing with every eventuality. So if you like a set work routine, I'd suggest that you don't really join the fire
Exactly.
service. But yeah, it boils down to being, the two key parts are being brave, and you've got to be strong.
Definitely,
Yeah.
the sort of instance that I imagine you see on a daily basis, hard stuff. So you've got to be strong. And if you've actually got a fire in your home, just remind us of the 3 things again that you said to be aware of.
You know that you've got that fire because you've got a smoke alarm. Okay, so if you haven't, then call us and we'll give you
one sorted.
Yeah, get one sorted. So this is what we teach children: get out, stay out, and get the fire brigade out. Don't run back in for your wedding photos or the lock of your child's hair.
Do you find that people still, they have that, they want to go and grab
again, with
possessions?
people liking their homes more and spending more money on them, they're protecting their investment. But the best protection you can do for that investment is to put a smoke alarm up. Because then in that eventuality, everybody's sitting outside, we don't get there and it's quiet, and then we know that we have that thing where we're pulling bodies out of fires and we don't want to do that.
It sounds so simple, but it's a free service that you guys do, this home safety check. So if you haven't got a fire alarm, then absolutely, get it sorted. Well, keep on doing an absolutely grand job, which you are. We'll have to come back and see some more of your fantastic work. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you next week for lots more on Midlands at Home. Take care.